You know the scene. A burst pipe, a crazy storm, maybe a leak you didn't even know was there. They all end the same way, right? Water everywhere it's not supposed to be. But here's the thing. The real story isn't about the flood itself. Nope. It's all about what happens next. So today, we're going to break down the science, the timeline, and all the tech used to bring a totally waterlogged property back from the brink. So, what does it really take to dry out a flooded home? I mean, you're probably thinking, just grab some mops, a bunch of towels, throw a few fans on it, and you're good to go, right? Well, it's not that simple, not even close. The real process is this high-stakes race against an invisible enemy. We're talking about hidden moisture. It's a battle against the clock, against biology, and believe it or not, even against the laws of physics. Okay, so before we can even get into the cleanup, we have to understand the battlefield. Because in some places, the environment itself is working against you. It creates these conditions where a tiny little leak can explode into a full-blown disaster with, honestly, shocking speed. Let's take a place like South Florida, for example. It's kind of the perfect storm, literally. You've got that subtropical humidity, which means nothing ever really dries out on its own. You've got constant thunderstorms hammering flat land that just can't drain fast enough. Throw in an aging plumbing system, and yeah, you've got a recipe for disaster. With a combination like that, water doesn't just visit. It moves in, unpacks its bags, and starts causing damage instantly. And that brings us to the most critical phase of this whole thing, the first 48 hours. Seriously, the second that water gets in, a clock starts ticking loudly. And the choices you make in those first 2 days, they are going to be the difference between a pretty simple fix and a total catastrophic failure. So, 60 minutes, 1 hour. That's the gold standard for the pros. The goal is to have a certified crew on your doorstep within an hour of your call. Now, you might be thinking, why the insane rush? Well, it's because every single minute that water just sits there, it's soaking deeper and deeper into your walls, your floors. Basically, it's working its way into the bones of your house, driving up the cost and the headache of the whole job. Okay, and here is the other deadline you absolutely have to know about. This isn't some random number we pulled out of a hat. It's a biological one. Within just 24 to 48 hours, in a damp, humid spot, mold spores, which are everywhere, by the way, can start to colonize. And once mold takes hold, you've got a whole new ballgame. It's not just a water issue anymore. It's a serious health and safety concern. Now, if you take one thing away from this, let it be this. That puddle you see on the floor, that's just a distraction. It's the tip of the iceberg. The real enemy, the real threat, is the water you can't see. It's the moisture that's quietly being wicked up by your drywall like a straw, soaking into the subfloors and turning your insulation into a soggy mess. That hidden moisture, that's where the real long-term destruction is happening. So let's follow the path of destruction, shall we? It all starts inside your walls, where you can't see a thing. That insulation gets wet, it gets compressed, and it totally loses its ability to, insulate. But worse than that, it basically becomes a giant, damp sponge, just holding all that moisture right up against the wood frame and the back of your drywall. So what happens next? Well, soon enough, you start to see the first visible clues. Porous materials, like your baseboards and wood trim, they start to soak up all that hidden moisture. They swell up, they warp, and you might even see the paint start to bubble and peel. This is your first big red flag that the water has spread way beyond where the initial leak was. From there, things can get really serious. The power of water being absorbed is just immense. As your beautiful hardwood floors soak up that moisture from underneath, the wood planks expand, but they have nowhere to go. So they either cup, where the edges curl up, or they buckle, lifting completely off the subfloor. I mean, at this point, you are looking at some very real, very expensive structural damage. And if that moisture still isn't dealt with, this is the final, inevitable stage. You see it. Visible mold. It starts popping up on walls, along the baseboards, maybe even on the ceiling. And let me be clear, this isn't just a sign of water damage anymore. It's a sign of a completely failed drying process and a much, much bigger problem. So how on earth do the professionals stop this chain reaction in its tracks? Well, it's not about just making things feel dry to the touch. Anyone can do that. No, this is a full-on scientific process. It's all about manipulating the environment inside the home to literally pull that hidden moisture out of the very materials of the structure. A professional response really breaks down into 3 clear phases. First, you've got the emergency contact and dispatch, getting the team there fast. Then comes the heavy lifting, the water extraction and applying all those scientific drying techniques we just talked about. And only after all that is done can the final phase begin, the actual restoration and rebuilding to get the property back to how it was. And look, this isn't just a bunch of people showing up and winging it. Not at all. Certified professionals operate by the book, and that book is called the IICRC S500 standard. The best way to think of it is as the official industry playbook. It dictates everything from safety rules to the exact scientific targets for drawing. It's all based on proven science. And, critically, it's what your insurance company looks for to know the job was done right. Okay, I love this quote because it really gets to the core of what separates the pros from the amateurs. Psychrometrics. It sounds complicated, but it's basically the science of air. It's all about the relationship between temperature, humidity, and airflow. And professionals use these principles to create the perfect drying environment, an environment that convinces building materials to literally let go of the water they're holding, releasing it back into the air so the machines can grab it. It's pretty cool stuff. Now, this is a really big deal. Not all water is the same. The source of the water completely changes the game. You've got Category 1, which is clean water. Think a broken water supply line. Then there's Category 2, or gray water. It's a bit dirty, like water from a washing machine overflow. But then you have Category 3, black water. This stuff is a serious biohazard. We're talking sewage or floodwater from a storm. And that requires a whole different level of safety gear and procedures to handle. And to do all this, you need some serious hardware. We're talking truck-mounted extractors that can pull out hundreds of gallons of water super fast. You have these massive commercial-grade dehumidifiers that can literally suck all the moisture out of the air in an entire building. Then there are the high-velocity air movers to speed up evaporation. And here's the really cool part. They use tools like thermal imaging cameras and special moisture meters to literally see through walls and find hidden water, so they know exactly when the job is done. All right, so let's clear something up that you'll hear a lot. 2 words, mitigation and restoration. People use them interchangeably all the time, but they're actually 2 totally different and equally important parts of the whole recovery process. So what's the difference? It's actually pretty simple. Think of mitigation as the emergency first response. It's the paramedics. Their job is to stop the bleeding, get the water out, stabilize everything, and just prevent the damage from getting any worse. Restoration, on the other hand, that's the surgeon. That's the process that comes after everything is dry. It's the actual rebuilding, the repairing, the process of making your home look like the disaster never even happened. So once the building is confirmed to be completely dry, and I don't just mean it feels dry, I mean it's been scientifically verified with moisture meters and all that tech, only then can the final phase begin. This is the good part. This is where the property is truly brought back to life. And this reconstruction phase is no joke. It's a full-on construction project. It starts with ripping out anything that can't be saved. Then the exposed framing gets treated to make sure mold can't come back later. From there, it's all about rebuilding it from the studs out. New drywall goes up, new floors go in, and the paint is matched so perfectly you'd never ever know there was a problem in the first place. And this is how it all wraps up. There's a final walkthrough to make sure all the work is top-notch, and you get this complete file of documentation. We're talking photos, moisture readings, everything that proves the job was done by the book. And this part is absolutely critical, not just for closing out your insurance claim, but for your own peace of mind and protecting the value of your property down the road. So there you have it. After all that, the science, the crazy machines, the reconstruction, your property is finally back to normal. But the real takeaway here isn't just about how to clean up a mess. It's about understanding what's at stake and that the absolute best way to deal with water damage is to try and prevent it from ever happening. Because if there's one thing we've learned today, it's that the clock is always ticking.